then every step forward will always be a step closer to home.
So step on up to the place. Need to face what can spill into the light of us. Step on up to the place. 'Cause this ain't no game. It's time to make history. Yeah.
Only Chris could make me decide to do a video on
Going here?
knowing full well it's probably Chris to do videos
I'd like a younger
on
sis
Chris
like Nepgear
without
too.
coming off with
I wonder
as
if
a
Nepgear would like to become my
as an A-log.
sis.
Hello, I'm OP Rocks and I did not think I was gonna actually do a video. I had to think to myself, I had to cover this because this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. And for once, seeing an arc going on more live, something I'm interested in, is actually more interesting. As back when now I know who Chris Chan is. I followed the Chris Chan story since I would say 2015 at best, from people who did videos on Chris like Legends of the Internet, and a Satchmo's video. Back when people like Dylan Thomas, when he went nuts, stuff like that. But this was someone I've known for a while, and for a while I've been keeping up a lot of the Chris Chan story. And you had the whole thing with Barb, you had everything that happened post the jail saga, and now it's just what Chris doing now. And now Chris just decides to get upset over the official over the new Neptunia game having a CPU blue heart, and it's not his blue heart. And Chris, his ego cannot handle the truth, especially when it goes against his usual I can foresee, I'm the goddess, blah blah blah, and it goes against everything. So this video is going to be me using a lolcow Express video that goes over Chris's video. So it's going to be a bit of a double subject. I'm going to talk about what Chris's nonsense is, and also add a little bit of commentary that lolcow Express didn't add his video first. As we're going to likely go into another Blue Arms Generation 5 situation, this is going to likely be a a case of how long till Chris does the same things again. And it might seem like it might go that way, because he does not like the fact and I'll talk more details. I feel like I don't want to really lose what I want to talk about, because there's so much to talk about. And I will do my best. These parts are gonna be a lot of the video is going to be more of lolcow Express's video and then my commentary. So I'm going to let his part plays out, and I'm going to talk more Chris' part, and then add information that he forgot. So I'm giving constructive criticism and information that he forgot, but also I'm going to point out what nonsense Chris says. This will be fun, But this will probably be the only Chris video I do for the time being, until it's safe to actually cover Chris Chan without coming out with an A-log. With that, let's begin.
Oh dear, ladies and gentlemen. Oh dear. So, a few days ago, Chris let out a series of confused and damn near very contradictory sort of things in lieu of this so-called redemption arc he's on. And apparently, a few days ago, he also made a new announcement. Fantastic. But yeah, for some reason, the way that Chris structures these the dates is, it's quite frankly, it's one of those moments where I think I would rather go and vote Republican than go and try and decipher that. And I don't even live in the United States. But whatever, apparently this is from an announcement from Scarlett LaRossa, whatever that means. So let's see what happens. Oh god, I'm gone mad for this.
This one's an impromptu captain's log. Well, stardate 03222026. I come addressing on a very serious and important integral matter.
Yeah, Chris's hair is starting to thin again. And also, why? Can somebody explain to me why Chris has the Solitude medallion facing the other way? Is that to show that Chris isn't actually being truthful? Which, let's be honest, guys, you don't fall for Chris's shenanigans for a second. Redemption, no, not really. Anyway, let's try and hear Chris out.
Not only relevant to this timeline, but just in the line of that which is divine and good in general. I have been made aware of course, Hyperdimension Neptunia Unlimited, and the inclusion of the name of the new goddess of PlayStation console.
Okay, yeah. So for those who need a bit of a who don't exactly know this, because funny enough, it's actually featured on here right now. So the story apparently about this is that in March 2026, Hyperdimension Union announced a new set for August, which introduces new official characters, among those being CPU Blueheart, which for those who have caught up with, who know a little bit of Chris 3 through Post Idea, guys, will know that Chris kind of created this OC called CPU Blueheart of Comma and Commodore consoles of Quickville. But the problem is that remind me again who Compa Heart and If Factory and Cryware, or whoever was, or owns the IP. They have created a new character called the official CPU Blueheart, otherwise known as CL of Last Station, a reference to Sony, with a backstory contradicting Chris's lore. Apparently, this is meant to be for the PS5, I seem to think, because it kind of matches the colors a little bit, and including this black stripe and how it sort of opens the coat sort of opens up. So yeah, it's a very, very nod and wink to the PS5. Also, for those who don't know anything about the Hyperdimension Neptunia series, the anime or the video games, they are very, very nod and wink to the console wars. It's quite a fun little series if you are fans of that sort of thing. The anime's also alright, I suppose. It's been nearly 10 years since I saw it, and nearly as long since I last played. I think it was Cyber Dimension Neptunia 4 Goddesses Online was the last time I played the games. It's basically sort of a playoff of Souls-like and World of Warcraft. They're quite fun, but again, maybe that's nostalgia coming at me. But with that being said, an upset Chris took to spamming Twitter feeds of official accounts promoting Neptunia, as well as accounts of fans approving of CL's design. In his tweets, Chris angrily claimed himself the real Blueheart. Yeah, that's pretty much how it is. So yeah, Chris is not happy at the idea that, guess what, If Factory, Compa Heart, and Cryware, they can actually just make their own OC, call it Blueheart, and there's very, very little Chris can actually do about it. And Chris is probably going to go on a tear for this.
So that's pretty much summed up to a T about everything. I think it's just to kind of correct that Cryware, the thing is, Cryware does play a part in Megadimension games, but not in the same sense. As for the anime, it was fine. It was getting a loosely adaptation of what was available at the time, which was Mark II Victory and maybe some of the spin-offs. It did its own thing by using elements of Mark II Victory. It kind of basically, because it focused more on just the main characters, it had more chance, and a lot of characters got, at least some characters definitely got their moment to shine, or they got to have a little bit more development. Also, but things like Neptune actually showing that she cares for Peachy, than just oh, I want Peachy better because I want to get good true ending. I want true ending kind of thing. Also, fun fact, Neptunia anime was the first season of the OVAs were made by Data Productions, same studio as JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I know, crazy. So Chris is, you kind of like has low cosmetic splits. You see Chris is fitting. His hair is definitely getting worse, but you can tell he's not happy. The fact that you can tell he is not happy. Like that they create a CPU blue heart and not his CPU blue heart, which his CPU blue heart is just his female form, and it's like his Sonic sneakers, and that's Sonic sneakers like rainbow like in some places because Chris LGBT blah blah blah, but it was really just a lot. It was just more of just Chris just want to self-insert himself because again. Messiah goddess complex, god complex, more way to put it. And honestly, again, and as for Cyber Dimension, which lolcow explained, the game was more akin to, it's more based on like MMORPGs kind of style, more like RPGs. Not Souls. Trust me, I feel like if Neptunia ever hits a situation where they have to style a game after Soulsborne, we're screwed when that happens. Because it would be hard. Trust me, I have a feeling the first game they would definitely want to play a game that will punish you will literally be games where you will literally like lose a lot, you will literally die and keep going over and over to get better. But, honestly, the only thing I can add here is, yeah, this is definitely going to be how much Chris is going to lose it. And, yeah, the CL, I like CL. Like, the more I saw that CPU Blue Heart's going to be a thing, I like, so far, CL to be pretty interesting, and see how she balanced off Noir, and how their friendship's going to be, since she is going to be someone that she's making her successor in a way. Even though Noir is not. Just because that Noir, Vert, and Blanc are not retiring, they're just kind of having a lot more free time to do whatever, because now they have these guys. And we're still got a lot more to learn about them. Right, so right now, as both, this only came out last month, the reveal trailer, we don't know much. We haven't got the CPU canon this new looks yet. We don't know any makers are coming back, or they'll play a big role. So far, we don't know much about the game. But the fact that Chris is so already upset, the fact that that CPU Blue Heart isn't his CPU Blue Heart, like this is going to be Gen 5, My Little Pony, and Sonic's Blue Arms thing all over again. The worried part is that what's Chris gonna do? But I guess we'll have to be sure. But as you notice, I let lolcow's video go a little bit longer because I want to make sure I have all context and give more spotlight to them. For the videos I want to let who I ask for, I let their part play out the most. I want to have my commentary, but I also want their part to matter. Because again, Hashtag's permission to this. It's something I want. I want to make sure, hey, I'm crediting your video, but I also want to make sure your parts matter the most. That's why I want this part to make sure that anything I bring up is important, but I also let the other video play out more. Let your DSP, but I just want to point out all your stupidity, nonsense. But here, I want to make sure everything gets said the most. So let's see what Chris is gonna say. I got a lot to say, so I think, especially when it comes to Chris's parts, those are gonna come up more. But then I'm also gonna add more commentary to where lolcow Express missed out on, because obviously he's still pretty much not kept up the series in a long time, as I mentioned. So I will do my best to help as best I can.
Souls. And just for obvious reasons, because not only has the Blue Heart name been my identity since I got Scarlet from within my original Commodore 64 console.
Oh, no.
Her soul, her powers, her energies, everything in it, but...
Also, Chris, I thought that was because the idea guys told you that. I thought you didn't have jack to do with how Scarlet came about. This was just machinations implemented by the idea guys. This kind of also demonstrates that nearly 10 years on, the sophoretic effects of the idea guys have not exactly left Chris's mind.
Also, this is the whole Chris having Scarlet, a name that completely messes with the naming the naming scheme of goddesses. It's just a copy of this. The game you're seeing right now. Megadimension, Neptunia, Megadimension Victory 2. Him having Scarlet, it's just Uzume's story. It was him back then, before he was possessed by Uzume, now he's possessed by Scarlet. It's just ripping off this. The game you're seeing right now. Him having this goddess slipping in his Commodore, it's just Uzume's story. Because again, Chris is so unoriginal, can't even create something original for its own goddess. It's not only his name messes with the naming scheme of, the naming scheme of the goddesses, but he also just completely just kind of claim ownership of something that was never his. You don't own Blueheart the same way you think you own Sonic, in the same way you don't own the right to the 1000 Pokedex slot. That's why you got something that does spark from it. And again, it's just like lolcow said. I thought this nonsense came from the idea guys. It's so insane how much that humans are out of power. Chris continues things that are nonsense, but he also believes it all. He hates what they've done, but he still clings to their nonsense. It really does show that all it did was give Chris an ego. All it did was give Chris this belief he was special, and that's what it basically clings it to. So that's why he tended to risk the thing. All he did was, again, he played Victory, took Victory 2, took the concept from it, and took it to its own lore. So, you ever wonder where all it came from? I will do a bonus video to kind of explain to you, how naming scheming of, characters work, to better understand why. So, yeah, I might not be doing Chris videos anytime soon after this, but I would love to actually help explain. But I can explain now. The Planet 2 CPUs, their names are roughly connected to planets. Neptunia, Uranus, the CPU after Uzume, and you have Neptune. And a lot of their names are kind of have some, as a Nepgear, her name is based on the N-Gear, on the,
we only have one chance.
N-Gear.
Don't rush in. Just divert her until the last second.
Game Gear, thank you, sorry. My brain had a kind of stump there, Game Gear.
Uzume.
But
Leave it to me.
and then you have, the rest of the goddesses, who their names are based on
Nepsi.
their names are based on different languages of
lonely for a long time.
different languages of colors. Vert, blonde, noir, or based on black, green, and white, especially. In not order, but you get what I mean.
So, lend me your strength one last time.
Chris
Yo,
goddess is CPU Blueheart.
waiting for this.
A blue. Scarlet is red. It really does show Chris has absolutely no idea and understands the very series that he basically walks on as things he cares about.
In fact, well, yeah, I suppose.
Her legacy, Scarlet's legacies, you have heard me read from within the pages of Chaos Crystal Control. It is very important, and the request is simple. To Idea Factory and Compound Heart, and all the people involved with the behind this video game and series, change that Blueheart name for that guys to the PlayStations to Grey Heart or even Black V2 Heart. Those are their two options. But
why they
why
suck?
best sell for just hearing it from me? as y'all were heard earlier, I do channel the other spirits and energies that are within me, as that was the case with Magic-chan, Sanchi Prime, and I when we were body swapped, and the same thing for Sanchi Prime when he and I were body swapped. And I always had the soul of Scarlet LaRoe, the original God's Blue Heart of the Commodore consoles, in me. With that being said...
Hey, why?
Chris thinking he can demand either fabric combined in the name.
Please pull yourself
And
together.
the names also
The
don't
enemy's right
fit
in front of
CL.
you.
This is again how Chris does not understand Neptunia,
Krusty, what's
and
happening?
how he just
It was
named his
working
character
for a second,
Scarlet,
wasn't it?
but has no, and you had your
Did she
CPU's blue
cancel it
heart.
out somehow?
It just shows you Chris has
Cancel
this
it out?
understand
What do you
naming
mean by that?
schemes, because again, this is someone who's very unoriginal about him how he names
voice.
characters. That.
R4?
But also, CL, the thing about CL is blue. I mean, nothing CL is red.
Countermeasures.
Black
But it
V2
can't-
heart?
It's impossible to
For
cancel
someone
out
who
sheer
claims
energy.
they are a fan of Neptunia, that makes it sound like she's just a copy of Blanc. She's a copy of Noir. A copy of Blackheart. Her version 2.0, like her version 2. No, she's her own character. That's the whole point of her characters, to be their own person. They're not replacements. They're not copies of the main character. They are their own people.
Is it?
And this is Chris not understanding this because he thinks he's the man. I just have
Terrible
to.
CPU.
And now
After
he's
all.
gonna go into his nonsensical LARPing as Magic-chan like he last back in
Sorry to keep you waiting.
2019.
My
Yeah, back
preparations
2019
took
a bit for a bit, and then he's LARPing as Sancho.
This
And he
light.
thinks that he's
And this
LARPing his
power.
OC, and
This
demanding
is-
them to
It's
listen
sheer
to you.
energy.
And in fact, you probably don't even know who
How
you
are there
are,
so many
Chris.
shares?
Like, compared to
Let's go
how
ahead and start
most
bets,
people,
just in
like,
case.
say, most
But
locales,
why
like,
did
most,
you
like,
come here?
dismissed locales,
Don't
not
be
all of them are
afraid.
well known.
I did not come
But
alone.
Chris thinks
All
he
the
demands
monsters who follow
to
you are
change
here as
it.
well.
And yet, I agree with
Each one
Locale
wields a shared
Express. The names suck.
Everyone, you
I
can
created my own
evacuate.
OC.
I apologize.
Named Lavender.
Searching
And
for
guess
these
what Lavender's
crystals
named
took a
after?
bit of time.
It's this Japanese
I know
word
these
for
lights
lavender.
are a good thing, but I can't
See what I
stop
mean?
thinking
I
about a
understand
massive
that a bit
glob
better
of baby bugs
than
and
someone who's
dog
older.
ooze, and it's almost
That was
kinda
just Chris.
gross.
But okay, Chris, let's hear you LARP again.
Chris just fallen asleep. Hello, Chris. Hello. You were trying to make a point. Hello. Chris. Chris, come back. There we go.
Greetings, everyone. I am Scarlet LaRoe,
Oh,
the original
what
God's
the hell
Blue
is
Heart of the
this?
Commodore consoles from game industry. And it is as Christine has said, as I am speaking to her right now to all of you. This is personally an attack, a travesty, the Idea Factory, Compound Heart, and the people presently behind this Hyperdimension Neptunia Unlimited game misuse my Blue Heart moniker with the wrong console. And it's just wrong. I'm very serious about this on a deeper personal meaning that goes within me and my soul and everything. This
Chris, you don't have a soul. You know why Chris doesn't have a soul? Because this is just this is just because what even is this? Chris, what is this even about? You're not even angry, and you're gone straight back to LARPing as a Chris. Sooner or later, there is going to be an Idea Guys Part 2. There's going to be people who will come up and they will exploit Chris to the absolute nth degree over stuff like this. It's just it's not encouraged. Of course it isn't. But do you think that's going to stop people? I'm telling you now, Chris, it's going to happen all over again.
Chris LARPing to get when he doesn't get his money. It's still like we haven't left 2019, 2020. And
If
I
you
guess
believe you
also,
can cancel out our belief
when
in
he was in
Uzume,
jail.
go ahead.
But it really does
Try.
show that Chris
There are powers
not getting
at
his
work
own
here
way
you could
when it's supposed to
not
matter.
understand.
and think that if I
Shares
pretend
feel
to
so
be this
warm.
fiction, this be with my OC, then maybe I'll get people listening. Yeah,
Please,
and
use my
he's
shares.
not wrong. Local
We're
Express is
sorry
not
that
wrong.
you had to go
We
through
are
all
definitely
this
going
pain
to see
just
a
for us.
I
Even if
Idea
I
Guy
can't fight
2,
with you,
2.0
I can
again.
at least give you my shares.
It's gonna happen eventually. But also, it's just like
What is this? The voices of fried shrimp and
Chris
the others
really
are
is just
falling
like
into my
Chris is
head.
still mentally
No,
a child.
I can feel
That
their
can
voices
that
speaking
accept
to my
that
heart.
things can't go his way.
I think the
He
thoughts
can't
of your
accept the
friends are
fact that
flowing into you along with their
the
sharing
Idea
with you.
Factory decided to make a
Everyone.
blue heart and then consult him. And
I
that's
apologize for allowing
Also-
you to fight alone.
it's just like
But
he
now,
really is just
we stand with you.
really has not changed. And this is Chris once again thinking that if he that he demands things by deities and other characters, that he gets what he wants.
Sharing field,
But
activate!
he doesn't understand that that's not how life works. You're not going to stop from that's going to happen. And we hope that a Blue Arms situation or MG5 doesn't happen, because it will.
And you will have learned absolutely nothing from this.
Will not stand. And as Christine said, the request is simple. Her name, that guy's name be changed to either Grey Heart or Black V2 Heart. Those are your choices, Idea Factory and Compound Heart. Do that in the more accurate chronicling of these games. And the consequences will be on a great level. Not only within the divine scheme of things, the actual gods and goddesses themselves, of which we have been personally acquainted with and have talked with numerous times before. But also,
So, you're not actually going to tell them what any of these are, Chris? I would have thought that you would have been quite direct and blunt with you may as they should have just, you know what, they should have given Seal blue arms while they were at it. That would have really cut on Chris's nerves.
on the metaphysical standpoint, and I will not stand idly by in this.
You are, though.
So those
Chris,
are the sentiments,
you are.
pure and simple. Change your name to Grey Heart or Black V2 Heart, or suffer not only karma backdrops upon your company and your series, but metaphysical attacks from me. And with the support of all the other gods and goddesses, including Emmanuel herself. So that is simple and straightforward. And as is the case within each and every chaos remote control that Christy emits and does every night. Let the shift be felt and known from me in this recording, and let this video be shared directly with the people of Idea Factory and Compound Heart. This is a very serious God-level matter, regardless of your chronicling and how you may or may not have written it.
Yeah, like Idea Factory is in danger just because they're not glorified by your demands. Again, Chris speaking has power, but he doesn't. Also, what are you gonna do? If Chris does this again, like even when he came now, I meant Generation 5 My Little Pony. He definitely had a few demands. He was definitely not happy about it because again, it goes against. Why Chris is upset about this is because it goes against his own nonsensical goals.
Yes,
For
I
him,
understand.
when it came to My Little Pony,
I will now send you power.
but Friendship's magic lasted longer than it did, and that's why he doesn't like that G5 exists.
This
And so
nostalgic
here,
feeling
he's
of
upset
warmth.
that his
This is
goddess
definitely the
was
shared
not
energy
made
from
into a real
my world.
character. The same way he's upset that Dunsparce
If
took
I
on
resonate
choose
this with Uzumish energy, then
Pokedex
both of you.
number that should belong to him. This is Chris thinking he has some swaying power, but he doesn't. And again, he's an Indian.
I bid y'all a humble day, and I pray that we do actually get this resolved quickly and safely so that there will be no other damage to this timeline, more than what has already been done and went against the prophecies, period. And remember, Christine did foretell the Commodore 64 Ultimate. This is fact. This is true. Take for now what you will.
So did they? So did Christine actually predict the Commodore 64 Ultimate, or did they just decide to release it for the enthusiasts, and they didn't need Chris's influence or decision making whatsoever? You tell me, because I'm pretty sure it's the same result. Meanwhile, I think I'm actually going to pre-order the latest Hyperdimension Neptunia game just to literally mess with Chris's perception of this timeline and see. Let's actually, you know what, guys? I would recommend, like, when is it? I know it's going to be released in August. Is it going to be like released for all consoles? Because I know they're pretty much like released for all consoles. But let's see, let's see, hyperdimensional Tunia 2026. Okay, so it seems Neptunia Unlimited is what it's called, and yeah, that's okay. So it's available for August 27, PS5, PS4, Switch, and Switch 2. Okay, so it doesn't seem like it's gonna be also something about it apparently being a reboot. Oh Lord, please do not tell Chris it's gonna be a reboot. Chris does not like reboots either. So yeah, I would say, you know what, guys, go and put your pre-orders in for Hyperdimension Neptunia. And you know what? I'm gonna suspect that even before Chris even uploaded this video, he had already put a pre-order for a Neptunia Unlimited. Hell, you know what? Maybe if all things go well, maybe I'll do a Let's Play of Neptune, or maybe the entire series, starting from Rebirth 1, which is just a remaster of like the original trilogy, up to like V2, Cyberdimension, and like all of the other games. Let me know if you think that's better, and if that also goes against the prophecies, because I think it would be pretty funny seeing how Chris would react to this, because I think Chris at this stage has given up all pretense of this so-called redemption arc, and has just fallen back into Chris will do just about whatever Chris wants, whether it makes sense or not. Because it's probably easier that way. In the meantime, I'll see you guys again next time. Thank you.
Don't worry, this is not a reboot in the same like sense. More kind of like this is a continuation from Victory 2. It just obviously we're not gonna probably hear much about Uzume and maybe Adult Neptune. But we'll probably already get mentions of Gold Third, we might get mentions of the past. We know that the game was played at a few like places, but we haven't got anything like main story wise of like opening. But no. But trust me, I think Chris would definitely lose it if this was a reboot, because again it goes against his chronologizing of his like lore. Because that's what Chris is obsessed with. Everything has to go be finite to what he mentioned in his merge lore. That's why he gets so upset about people who make fan fiction that does not goes against his own ideals and stuff like that. This is Chris being Chris. I mean, I'm gonna get this game. I have the Rebirth trilogy on my Steam. I have Sisters vs. Sisters. I got that game. I have most of the games. I'm still missing a few. I want to play Sisters vs. Sisters was originally meant to be a mainline game. I do want to get that game done because it and Game Maker are kind of serve as like the evolution of what a Neptunia file system. Those are important to play. But yeah, this is really gonna be like if Chris really is how upset Chris is about this, and he thinks that he's threatening them, like, oh, divine judgment's gonna happen. Chris not gonna do anything. So what really left to mention? There's nothing they really like clear up from what lolcow Express said, but same thing. Like I'm gonna get the game too. Definitely some people are not gonna care about Neptunia because they look at anime as like, oh, nerd games like that, which is unfortunate.
Spiral Dream!
And keep in mind, why I like Neptunia was more for like the fun references and characters and voice in the cast. It was not just a series that gets taken way too seriously, like translations, characterization, character portrayals. It is a series that literally that its fans that basically will get mad over even a small, minute thing. To the point that the most they complained about was spin-offs. And it was mostly because, and it wasn't because we had so many spin-offs. It's probably because they are such that some of their favorite characters were in the game. Probably that's half the reason, but I digress on that.
I'll go calmly.
But it also is more is that when it came to Chris is that he just cannot accept the fact that he has no say or sway. He still talk about dimensional merge, still talk about multiverse theory, timelines, all that. He can't accept the fact that things move on. It's kind of mentioned that it's also weird that Chris has not even talked about. He talks about Pokemon games, but he doesn't even talk about the Pokemon anime anymore. Like, before he came back, the first thing he did was use 2 songs from like the old era of the Pokemon anime. The Double Trouble and All-World Bridge City. Up that point, he came back, he got out of prison around 2023. And Pokemon Horizon was just starting at the time.
Ta-da! Uzumi's turn!
Other than that, I don't even know what... Chris is probably going to already have his game pre-order. And he's probably going to just be more like fuming more that he can't get his way. As he's feeling, he's looking worse for wear. And an Ideal Guide 2.0 is coming. Or someone like Jacob Softness is going to come, just like that. You don't know. And honestly, it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. Obviously, this will be like probably the only time I'm going to do a video on Chris. But at least I can say, hey, at least I talk about something I enjoy. But that's fine. The only thing I can say is, again, shoutouts to lolcow for the video. Thank you so much. And I'll check his stuff out. He does quickie readings and videos. He's going back through the Chris Chen documentary. Just like I always do, because I always listen to it. Because it's very easy to pick up things and pick up stuff we didn't know or talked about. Also, you have Samuel, who is also kind of remastering the documentary, so he's adding new stuff that wasn't in there. And I'm obviously things like one thing I really want to be very interested to see what he talks about is add stuff that he forgets to bring up. Because there's something that some people don't know, like what's the whole thing with Chris Chan Pure? That some people don't know that's a whole Precure reference. I would love to mention that in the comments for when we see his Crystal again. His Crystal from the comics, because that's a very important thing that some people don't know about. And it just shows that Chris was just taking concepts into his nonsense lore and stuff like that and mashed together. And honestly, even when it comes to Neptunia, Chris is not a fan. The fandom, like the fans, have only like laughed at him about it and made sure that they accept the new Blue Heart. They don't want Chris Blue Heart, and they make it clear they don't like the community, which is good. I feel like the community's already got enough pedophiles and predators and weirdos. I don't think they need to like Chris. In a world where there's a lot of people who basically ship themselves with these characters, these underage characters, which is more disturbing than you think, but crazier than you thought. Other than that, I feel like there's not much bad. Link in the description to the original video. Obviously, support the creators that you like, not Chris, etc., etc. Take care. Have a good day. Bye.